Calgary Seniors Resource Society, Brittany and Chris, and they have all kinds of resources for seniors. Sui, who is in our congregation, Sui Wong, she volunteers for them, visiting people. In her case, I think it's either Korean or Chinese man that she visits all the time. But those are the kinds of things that they do. We used to, years ago, do a, what was that program? Oh yeah, Adopt a Grandparent program at Christmas time, and we used to collect a whole bunch of things and fill up bags and then bring them over to the Calgary Senior Resource Society, and they would deliver them. So, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, somebody needs that.
Excellent. All right, thank you so much for coming out. My name is Chris. I'm one of the social workers at Calgary Seniors Resource Society, and this is Brittany. She's one of the managers in the senior social support programs. So we're going to talk to you a little bit today about what we do at Calgary Seniors and talk about the volunteer programs and our social work support as well, and how you can be an active member of the community and getting people connected to our agency as well. Head for the next slide. Thank you. So just a quick little bit about us. Our vision and mission are up on the board there. So really we're focusing on, I know we have seniors in the name, but really connecting communities together. So ensuring that people of all ages in the community can flourish. We really believe that community support is central to what we do in our programs and the people that we support. And then our mission there is to provide those coordinated, personalized, client-centered supports and services that help older people on their aging journey. We really believe in aging in community, in place, and doing that in a healthy way, whatever that looks like to you. Thank you. So some of the things that we'll talk about today, like I said, we have two main programs. Our senior social supports, which are more focused on that volunteer and community engagement, which is what Brittany will focus on. And then when she's told you all the fun stuff, I'll talk about all the boring stuff with the social work support services that we do. No, it's not too boring. So I'll just pass that over to, well, before I do that, I'll just explain. I'm not going to talk too much about the outreach services because our agency mainly focuses on the Northeast and Southeast, but you do have CARIA out there. That's the part of the collaborative that supports the Way In Network, which provides long-term support services and social work supports for older adults in the community. And they're the agency that supports the Northwest. So definitely chat with CARIA out there to learn about their services. They've got lots of great things, and I'll focus more on Senior Connect and the social supports that we do in the agency.
Next slide, Pumpkin. Hi, so as Chris mentioned, my name is Brittany Romansky. I'm the manager for practical supports in our senior social supports department. I know that's a lot of S's, so we call it S3 for short. But I kind of wanted to ask, because it seems like everyone here is very active in their community, which is wonderful. How many of you here are caregivers by chance? Are caregivers? If you're a caregiver, put up your hand. And that can be caregiving for a parent, it can be caregiving for a spouse or for a child. So you only had two? Spouse? Okay, that's good. And how many of you have family or friends that live here in Calgary that you connect with on like a weekly basis? Okay, my mic's going weird. I'm gonna stand next to you, Chris. Okay, perfect, good to know. So again, I've already said my name. What our department does is we mobilize volunteers out in the community so we can provide that practical and social support to seniors living in Calgary. So our services are citywide. We have roughly about 2,600 seniors in our service right now that we provide services to. So we do have a pretty big client base, which is really exciting. It really grew over COVID. And the kind of main reason for our programs is to be mutually beneficial to enrich the life of both our seniors and our volunteers as well. So if you have any questions at any time, please don't hesitate to ask questions. That's why we're here today, okay? Next slide. So to kind of deliver our programs and how we help seniors, we kind of use two different delivery models. One is a one-on-one match, where seniors are matched one-on-one with a volunteer to provide social support or practical support from long-term, so that one beautiful member of your community here, they are probably in our friendly visiting program, so that's fantastic. Another way that we support our seniors is through our on-demand programs, where seniors are provided services from more than one volunteer. Next slide. Welcome. So we kind of split up our programs based on in terms of social connections, and the main focus of these programs, as we said, is to facilitate connections between our volunteers and our seniors. So we have our lovely shopping companion program, which is where our volunteers are matched with seniors to take seniors out grocery shopping, or we also offer delivery service as well. Our friendly visiting program is where you get matched with a volunteer, and a volunteer comes to your home and visits you weekly for maybe about an hour to two. However, this just really depends on kind of what support you are looking for. If you're like, maybe I only need to visit once a month, it's really kind of up to you and your volunteer and what you decide. Our friendly check-in program is unique in the sense that you're not meeting face-to-face with your volunteer, but you're having that social companionship over the phone. I know for some people, either distance is an issue, or they have a little bit of social anxiety, so they just prefer to talk on the phone versus meeting in person, right? So all three of those programs I mentioned, shopping companion, friendly visiting, and friendly check-in, we do have wait lists. However, as a way to kind of still connect and provide services to seniors who are waiting to be matched with a one-on-one volunteer, we provide our on-demand volunteers. So for example, if you're on our shopping companion wait list, you can still get grocery support. You just have to give us 2 weeks notice. If you're a registered client, you call in and you say, hey, you know what, I'm really needing groceries in about 2 weeks. Can I please get some volunteer help? This allows us enough time so that we can put the request out to our team of wonderful volunteers, and whoever has availability will pick it up and drop off the groceries or take you out grocery shopping. Our Holiday Helpers program is kind of a little bit newer. It kind of started in COVID, and what really is, we found out there's a lot of social isolation happening among seniors, and we know that around the holidays, it can be even harder during that time, right? And I'm not just talking about Christmas. It can be either your birthdays or even an anniversary, say you have a loved one that's passed away, or kind of anything. So what this program does is it can either match you with a volunteer who can take you maybe shopping. You're like, hey, I have a birthday gift that I want to pick up, and it's for my granddaughter, and I'd love to be able to go out shopping, but I don't have transportation. That's something that we can help out with. Or if you're like, I would really love to have a phone call during this holiday season, that's something we can do. And we have a lovely group of volunteers that love baking. So sometimes the coordinators will know that a senior is particularly loves peanut butter chip cookies, let's say. We'll put a request out, and our wonderful volunteers will make that and deliver it to you. It's just kind of a general, I'm thinking of you. And then our Caregiver Kindness program is unique in the sense that we are trying to provide social support for the caregiver and also the senior care recipient. So the type of support in that program is really kind of unique and depends on the individuals who are wanting support. Some people are looking for just more of that peer support, a listening ear, someone to kind of hear when they're having either a hard time or just act as a check-in. We also deliver lovely care packages to our caregivers because we know how hard is they work, and sometimes you don't know what you need when you're a caregiver. It can be really overwhelming when people ask you well, what do you need? And you're like, I don't even know. So this program is, again, we try to cater it to what you need and what you want and the support that we can give. So both Holiday Helpers and Caregiver Kindness are always accepting clients, so please don't hesitate to put in a referral. Next slide, please. And then we have our practical support. So this is kind of the team that is within my portfolio, and it's on demand. So we provide short-term and long-term support with things like transportation and medical appointments in our essential transportation program. I know this one it's a really high demand program, so there is quite an extensive long wait list, unfortunately, for it. However, we do triage and try to still provide support to those seniors who are needing help, say, to cataract surgery or experiencing cancer treatments and need help to getting to kidney dialysis. So even though we have those long wait lists, I still recommend calling us, telling us a little bit about your situation, what's going on, And if it is kind of you're needing that urgent support, you don't have family or friends within Calgary, we'll try our best to kind of accommodate your needs. And then we have our lovely practical kindness program, and I always call it my miscellaneous baby, and it's the one I kind of started off with Calgary Seniors. And really it's providing short-term on-demand support for compassionate reasons. And so it's including non-medical rides. If you need a ride to the bank or the registry, we've had individuals who are like, hey, I'm going to a funeral, I'm going to a wedding, I need a ride, I'd love to be able to still participate in my community this way. That's something that we can help out with. It can include basic home repairs. We've had installing a light bulb. I've had a wonderful crew of volunteers. I never know what skills that they have. So if you're not sure if we do it, I always say just ask. It never hurts just to ask, and we'll be honest and let you know. And then in terms of miscellaneous support, it kind of covers what the other programs doesn't cover. So like I said, don't hesitate to ask. Our Pet Assist program, we are always accepting clients in, and what the volunteers do is provide companionship for the seniors as well as for their animals. So it can include animal enrichment, such as dog walking, maybe playing with your animal, kitty litter cleanup, also transportation to the vet or to the groomers. We also have kind of like a donation supply, so if you're running low on some, whether it's kitty litter or dog food or cat food, we do have a donation store there available, and our volunteers can drop off those pet packages to you as well. And then we have our cheer mail program, which started off in COVID, and what volunteers do is kind of send little notes of kindness to our seniors, and it's a one-way snail mail. So a lot of our seniors register in our programs, they'll always receive like a happy birthday card or general I'm thinking of you, or if we know like, hey, this person has a really wonderful milestone, we want to help them celebrate, coordinators will put that in there so that our seniors receive those little surprise cards in the mail. Any questions so far? Yes.
Do you have to have a case manager or anything through AHS, and how you get it?
Oh, I will tell you in a moment. Okay, next slide, please. So, perfect. This is kind of like our referral service. So how do you access us? That's a big question. So we take referrals online. If you go to calgaryseniors.org, you can fill out an online form, or you can give us a call at 403-266-6200, and you can phone us that way, or you can put in an email or fax form. So we kind of take all different forms, and anyone can be a referrer. It can be a senior themselves, it can be a family member, it can be a care provider, it can be like a family or friend or neighbor, anyone. And so eligibility is also another really good question, like what is age eligibility? So it's 65 years and older. However, some of our programs we are able to accept younger in. Like for example, our Pet Assist program, we are looking for more clients, so we can accept clients as young as 60 years old. And what it means by self-transferring is that you're able to get yourself in, and if you're in a wheelchair, you're able to get yourself in and out of a wheelchair and put yourself into a vehicle. Just because our volunteer drivers, they use their own vehicle and unfortunately aren't trained for transferring. And limited social supports just means really like if you don't have a lot of family or friends in the community and you really are kind of feeling that isolation. Wait lists we already kind of chatted about. So we do have wait lists. However, we're using our on-demand kind of volunteers to provide that support. And when in doubt, just ask. Any questions about that? Good. Okay, next slide, please. So this is kind of our urgency levels, just to kind of indicate when we do have wait lists. It's not always a first come, first serve, just because there are certain individuals that are in that urgent, dire need. So kind of somebody who's really urgent, they really have minimal to no family support whatsoever. And they're experiencing a high need and a basic necessity of life, whether they have like no food, they could be getting evicted, they have no electricity, their prescription medication is like running out and they need it because it's a life-saving medication. For example, it could be this individual who's like, I'm getting kidney dialysis and I have no way to get there, or cancer treatment. That happened a lot to us in COVID. Unfortunately, we had a lot of individuals as services stopped come to us, and our wonderful volunteers really stepped up and were able to help our seniors to still get to their cancer treatment. So that kind of goes under an urgent. Semi-urgent means, you kind of have some family around popping in and out. If you're running low on food, but you have like maybe a week's worth of food, that's where we put you at like maybe a lower at someone who's like, I have no food whatsoever in my home. And your medical appointment's like, oh, I have an appointment that's like a month down the road. So it's not as super urgent, but it's getting there. And non-urgent, again, is where, we hope kind of all of our seniors are at, just because it means that they have very stable connections in the community, a lot of family and friend support, all their basic necessities are being met, and they're just kind of asking maybe for some social companionship in that piece. So it really does vary. We'd like to take things case by case and by individual because everyone is unique in their needs. Any questions? Wonderful. We are also looking for volunteers. So if you yourself are wanting to be a volunteer, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Personally, I have one volunteer, and he's still driving, and he's 86 years young, and just wonderful. And he started volunteering with our organization as a way to give back because his wife was unfortunately a cancer patient, and he really had the community rallied again around him in time of need. So he found a lot of purpose in that, and that's where we say like our volunteers and our senior relationships are supposed to be mutually beneficial. So if you ever think that you want to be a volunteer, like we'd also love to have you as well.
Thanks. All right, so I'm going to talk about some of our social work programs at Calgary Seniors, specifically focusing on Senior Connect. That's the program that I manage. A little bit of history on how this program was founded. It's been around since 2004, and it was created in response to an older adult. His name was Lincoln Ray, and neighbors had noticed that things may have not just been right around mail piling up, walkways not being shoveled. And this gentleman had actually passed away in his home, and he was in there for 3 months before anyone had made a connection or reached out for support. So obviously that's not anything that we would want for anyone living in our community. So Senior Connect was formed as to be that response. So if you're noticing something is not right with a member of your community, an older adult member, we're the people that can go out and try to make that connection and try to step in and to provide that support before somebody gets into a crisis situation in their home. We want to focus on that prevention and stabilization and connecting folks to appropriate long-term resources to make sure that they can thrive and remain independent in their community, because we never want another situation like that where someone is passing away in their home and it could have been prevented. So really our program does have a couple components to it. It's the professional response, which is the social work intervention. So we do provide urgent short-term social work support for older adults, 60 plus in the community. So really, I find it hard to describe the program because we operate in such a gray area, but I mean, we rely on community members to be the eyes and ears for us. So it's really if people are saying something to you that just doesn't seem right, if they're talking about maybe elder abuse that they're experiencing in the home, they have a younger child taking advantage of them financially, or they casually mention that they haven't had any food or haven't gone to the grocery store in a couple weeks and just something doesn't sit right, where do you reach out for support and how do you get someone to step in and provide that support? And that's where Senior Connect comes in. So our goal is to make the connection with that older adult and community, do some prevention work, identify what that urgent need is and stabilize that piece, but also then hopefully prevent future crisis by exploring why or what led to that situation. So maybe it's an issue with pensions. They haven't filed their taxes, so they've lost some of their income support. So working to get that piece stabilized and then connect them to appropriate supports to ensure that they're thriving moving forward. So really, like I said, it's that linking that older at-risk adults to the community support services that are available. We don't need referrals or consent for referrals from our program, so you don't have to be connected to a case manager. Anyone can be a connector and make a referral on behalf of someone they're concerned about. And like I said, you are the eyes and ears in the community for our support services. One thing that's unique about our program is that we can do those cold calls. So what that means, I mean, you can probably think of it like a telemarketer, but we're not. We're trying to be there to be helpful, right? So we can get a referral and say, Maybe Brittany's neighbor called and said, I need someone to check on Brittany. We would go and do a door knock to see if they were interested in engaging in our services and offering that support. We'll obviously respect someone's decision to refuse support services, but at least we're making that initial connection and trying to bridge that gap and know that there are supports and services for them in the community. Yes? So yeah, we're not officially partnered with the police, but definitely we do get referrals from police, EMS, fire. If people have gone out, 911 has responded to some of those calls, and maybe they go in and they notice that someone may not have to go to hospital, but they don't have food in the house, or maybe there's some hoarding concerns. They will refer to us and we will go in and do some of that social support. I always like to say, obviously, first responders should be there in the true emergencies. We're not a replacement for any of those. We're not going to be the ones going in if there's active assault or a medical emergency. We're there to provide that social work lens and support after that emergency has been taken care of. Any other questions before I jump into the second part? No? So our education component is something like we're doing today. So we do presentations to professional agencies to let them know about the services, and also through to the general public, because like I said, you are the people that we rely on to connect with folks in the community. I can share this link and website with the folks that organize this later, but we do have some training on the website there, seniorconnectcalgary.org. We have some modules on how to identify signs and symptoms of older adults who may be at risk. So there's things that discuss addictions, mental health, elder abuse, and what to watch for. And so if you're noticing those things in your friends or neighbors, that's when you would be prepared to make that call on their behalf. Okay, thank you. So who is eligible? Like Brittany's programs, ours are obviously focused to older adults. We support folks who are 60 plus and experiencing a non-medical or non-emergent crisis. So anything, like I said, where EMS, police, fire are not required. We keep short caseloads because we do try our best. We do respond hopefully same day or within 24 hours. So there's never a wait list for our program. So if you have identified somebody that's in need, we're going to make sure that we try to connect with them as fast as humanly possible. It could be anyone who's believed to be at risk, so socially, emotionally, physically, or financially. So linking it back to if people disclose that they have people taking advantage of them, or they've been scammed, lost some money, or even if they're mentioning to you that they're not finding that they're aging in place in their home, that their living situation is not ideal for them. Maybe a partner's past that was a caregiver, now they're not able to take care of the tasks that come along with living independently. Most of our clients are lacking social and professional support, so we are not looking to duplicate services. So if people are already connected with home care and have a social worker or another professional organization that has social work support, that's not necessarily appropriate for us. We're looking for those folks that are falling through the cracks and may not have those professional or social supports. Anyone can be a referrer, so like I said, that could be family or concerned community members. So we always say if you're questioning or concerned about someone, don't hesitate to make the referral. That's what we're here for, and we want to support. And we do support all throughout Calgary and then in the immediate surrounding area as well. So we can go to Airdrie, Okotoks, some of those bedroom communities to offer support as well. Any questions? No? Okay. Yep, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that can be a really tough thing even for us to deal with when we do get referrals for folks, because we do have to respect everyone's right to say, no, I'm okay. But I think sometimes when they're having those conversations, it's that first point in saying, well, they're not specifically asking for help. They may be saying, like, I'm isolated and that's on you to make that referral. Because we can go and try to connect, obviously, and try to offer them and talk to them about what's available to them. But they always will have the right, just like anyone would, to say, no, I don't want to engage in these services. But I like to say we're pretty persistent sometimes. So even if they say no initially, we always come prepared with resource packages, information to leave with them, and always let them know that the door is open. So when they are ready, and sometimes it's just time, that they get the opportunity to read and understand what is available, they'll reach out more often than not. And I think that's nice just because, you know, you're providing that initial connection piece to say that you can reach out when you're ready. It doesn't have to get to a crisis piece, right? So we will do those. Are we successful all the time? No, but I still think it's important to try to make that connection. And our referrals can also be anonymous. So if you're worried about somebody that you're genuinely concerned about, but you don't want to kind of ruin that relationship with you that you have with them because they may have some trust built up with you, you can refer, and we can do an anonymous knock on the door. We don't have to say who referred us. We can just say we've been contacted, that you might need some support, and just try to use some charm to get in and have a conversation with them.
We can be the bad guys.
Yeah, you don't have to be the one that said I've called in and all of that. That's a good question, but it's definitely tough. So like I said, back to when to refer, we talked about some of these. So if you're noticing any of those signs, or people are like something just doesn't sit right and you recognize that this person might need some additional support, that's really when to refer to us. Let us do the digging, let us do the hard work to try and pinpoint that, but we can't make that connection and start to do that digging unless you make the call first. So that really is what your role would be. All of the referrals that we have when we're meeting with clients are to do an assessment, so like a holistic assessment of psychosocial needs, so that, not to drop the lingo, but that talks about like looking at your home environment, your social environment, your basic needs, doing an assessment of all of that, and help identify where we can provide support to help better some of those areas. We also want to reduce risk, increase safety, and then connect to appropriate long-term supports. So for our referrals, and like I said, I'll share this, you just have to call. We have a nice partnership with the Distress Center. They operate 24/7, and they help us with some of the referrals as well. So you can call into the Distress Center and say, I need a referral to Senior Connect, and they will make sure they get the information and pass it on to us to respond to. No, the Distress Center supports anyone of any age. So it's not specifically for seniors, but they will know. We do some training with them, so they know what to ask and what to look for with that. Excuse me. Yes. Yep. Yeah, really good question. So we do come with, obviously, our agency identification. We do have all of the people on our team, or my team, are registered social workers, so we bring our practice license as well. That can be validated on the Alberta College of Social Workers website. We come with business cards, so we're never going to be showing up just without some sort of identification. And if someone was concerned, absolutely, we're not going to force ourselves in. We'll say, this is how you can validate us. We'll come back. We're not going to be pushy or anything like that. We'll definitely respect boundaries and all of that as well. Yeah, good question.
And then for volunteers, we do have a volunteer tag that they can wear, but we always inform the seniors the name of the volunteer, who's going to be giving them a call, because they'll usually call to set up. They're just not going to show up at your home and be like, hello, I'm with Calgary Seniors. So we'll always inform you to make sure that you're aware, because it's a great question. How do you know, right? There's the scammers that are getting very creative. Any other questions?
Mm-hmm.
Do you help with or refer with regard to housing?
We do, yeah. So we're not a housing provider specifically, but we do have all of our social workers know where and how to apply to all of the subsidized housing. I think the unfortunate part right now is, as you probably know, we're in a housing crisis in the city. So it's not a quick process, but we can definitely support with getting those applications in, walking through the process, discussing what kind of paperwork is required, and getting folks on those wait lists. Stop me if I'm going into too much before I talk about the whole process, but it's done on a needs basis. So if like a client came in through Senior Connect that was actively experiencing homelessness, they may be prioritized with the housing providers more so than someone who is just looking to downsize and has their own home and has time to transition into housing. But that's what we do. We do the advocacy piece. Whoops, sorry. We do the advocacy piece, fill out those applications, and try to push as much as we can. I mean, we don't have any magic wands that we can pull out to get someone housed, but we definitely do the advocacy and the support to try to get that done as soon as possible. Well, Kirby has they do. Yes, they've got the shelter, but that shelter is only specifically for folks who are fleeing abuse. So someone who has lost their house or is experiencing homelessness that doesn't have that elder abuse component to it will not be admitted to the Kirby shelter, unfortunately. And we're really lacking. Yeah, there's no, I hate having to give this answer, but there's no transition support or housing support for emergency transition shelter for older adults. They would, if they're experiencing homelessness and they don't have friends or family, the only places are the mustard seed or the drop-in center, those types of shelters that are not appropriate for anyone to be going to, let alone older adults in the community. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that you have to know is if you're going for subsidized housing, you have to have what is called a functional assessment.
I can, yeah. You were on it, absolutely. So, yeah, so you do, and that's something that can be a barrier as well. But that's often why you work with, like if you came to us, we can help you navigate that. Because a functional assessment, gets completed by the doctor that basically outlines your ability to live independently, your ability to function independently and care for yourself. Because a lot of the places that are subsidized, they're not like long-term care. You're still expected to be able to complete all of your tasks independently. Even if you're at a lodge like Silvera will have independent lodges where you may get some light housekeeping and food, you're still expected to be at a level of independence where you can thrive. So those doctors' functional assessments are required that outline what you can and can't do physically, but there's a cost benefit or a cost associated with that that's sometimes a barrier, but we can help navigate some of that to maybe get some support through funding to help that covered, or advocate with the doctor to try to get that waived. We have been successful, not always, but we do get it waived sometimes. And we know the tricks too. I know every housing provider has their own functional assessment, but we've got a generic one that we can send to the doctor, so at least they're filling out one that all the housing providers have been willing to accept. So working with someone that can help you navigate that is important. And yeah, I mean, the subsidized housing, like I said, long wait list, but it is important to know, I mean, it's because it's geared to income, so it's 30% of your income when you're in a subsidized housing based on your notice of assessment, and that's how they kind of do that. I won't go down the rabbit hole. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you.
No? Okay, thank you for listening. We appreciate it.